On there, guys. Good evening. Earthmaster here. It is the March 16, 2022 date, about 7:52 p.m. California time. Latest quake out there on the Earthquake 3D globe shows a, well, there was a 3.4. There we go. Over here around the Mediterranean region. Looks like a little bit of uptick in movement there on the globe. Let's go ahead and check out the latest activity here on the USGS map over in that area. Not seeing a whole lot here show up on this map. But of course, the 4.0 threshold does not exist there in that region. Let's go ahead and check out the EMSC model here while we're on it. Should have pulled these guys up here first because they're a little bit more accurate and a little bit more convenient when it comes to looking at international activity. There's the activity here on the globe. We'll zoom in here. This is actually the Iran region where they seen that 5.9 earlier. The latest quake was this one right over here. Just, yeah, it looks like around the eastern part of the Mediterranean region. Let's see where we're at. 3.4 in Greece. That's where the EMSC has this earthquake situated at. There is the 5.9. Originally came in as a 6.1 earthquake over here in Iran, southern Iran. Looks like the USGS has downgraded it to a 5.8. They have seen an aftershock of a 4.5 and I believe a little bit smaller one as well in the area of southern Iran. This one, pretty good shaker out there. I don't believe this is a highly populated region, but it was felt in the region out there. 5.8 at 10 kilometers. Pretty large earthquake there in that area. Well, of course, we also had that pretty good one. Good-sized earthquake off the coast of Japan. Of course, Fukushima sits over here to the west a little bit, about 50 miles or so. It is in the area around the 9.1, I should say, earthquake back in 2011. That one was a very damaging earthquake and subsequent tsunami. Today, just a 7.3 at, I shouldn't say just a 7.3 because it's a pretty powerful shaker. And it's been a year since we've seen anything above 7.0. If you watch quite a few of my videos, you'll know that I've been talking about this area for quite a while. I've been saying to watch this area for some subsequent large activity above the 7.0 threshold, and it's been quiet. In fact, if you look at the last year of earthquake activity, aside from the one today in the blue circle above 7.3, in the last year, the last 7.0 was March 20th, 2021. This earthquake up here at 43 kilometers. So it's been building up. Yes, we see little swarms of 5s and maybe a 6 here and there, but we have not seen the release of pressure like we normally would see in this type of subduction zone. And it's been a year. It's taken a little year of some building up to reach that 7.0 threshold, which was broken today in the no doubt the watch area that we've been watching here. Another area that we have been watching up here around the Kuril-Kamchatka area is kind of absent in movement today, and it has been for a little while. See right here, today's map. So let's see aftershock sequences here following that 7.3 in the Japan region. Of course, they had a 6.5 2 minutes prior to the 7.3, and the 6.5 was a little bit more upstream here, up towards the subduction zone here, not down dip, but more into the surface area, up towards the surface at 47 kilometers. The 7.3 further down dip inland at 63.1 kilometers. So a little bit of variable depth differences there in the earthquakes. Definitely a major player in producing some very large earthquakes today, 7.3. in that area of Japan. Wow, look at this. Look at the Kuril-Kamchatka Trench all the way through the Aleutian Trench. Of course, we need to bring the all magnitudes in, and even then, that doesn't do it justice here. Zip, zero, nada. And I believe we're starting to see that the teeter-totter effect from this morning, from the 7.3, relieving pressure up here along this area of the Pacific Plate. California, yes, there is a little bit of activity showing up here on the map over the last hour, but no major swarming like we have been seeing prior to the 7.3. If you remember, we were getting some swarms over here around the San Andreas Fault Zone I think it was yesterday, the last couple days prior to the 7.3, remember, and some activity in Yellowstone kicking up as well. So quite a bit of pressure up here, a large increase in tremor over the last 9 days. That came to a halt last night. And then, of course, we've seen that 7.3 strike this morning there in Japan. So I firmly believe there was an article put out here in around the 2011 time frame when that 9-pointer struck there off the coast of Japan. Mentioned about how it relieved pressure out here along the west coast and ultimately possibly prevented the big one, or at least pushed off the big one from happening for a little while along the west coast. So I got to see if I can find that article. But I remember seeing that and hearing about it, and it seems to ring true every time we see movement up here. We get that relief out here along the west coast. But looking at the activity today, and some within the last hour, a little bit of movement around the Ridgecrest. I did see a little. There's a little bit of a cluster of quakes here in the Koso Junction area, kind of around the Koso volcanic range. Some very small microquakes. A 2.2, the largest earthquake here. In that little sequence of earthquakes around the Ridgecrest, and some movement down Southern California. But if you look at the map, there's no major swarming going on now around the San Andreas Fault Zone. Just a couple small microquakes up and down the typical plate boundaries here and the fault zones of Southern California. And one earthquake here around Corona, 1.4. Up in the Northern California, creeping section. Yeah, a lot of this is older movement. Haven't seen any renewed activity here along this area today. One earthquake outside of Shasta Lake around Round Mountain, California, 1.7 earthquake. Pretty shallow, about 10 kilometers for that earthquake. Pacific Northwest, not a whole lot going on. Oregon looks pretty quiet up through Washington as well. One little earthquake here north of Mount St. Helens, well north, nothing being shown at the summit right now. I'm going to show you guys the tremor map tonight along the Cascadia. 44 epicenters of tremor. Most of it situated up here west of Seattle, northwest of Seattle up here, around the Strait of Juan de Fuca. So it's been a little while since we've seen a little bit of activity up there. But also into Northern California, still seeing a little bit of tremor activity as well. Yesterday we had none. Today, kind of kicking up a little bit. We'll see how that plays out, though. Let's see what we got for Yellowstone. I don't believe we got too much going on here. We definitely will check these guys out. Refresh this page here. If you're wondering what that big blob is here on the map, that's not a 4-pointer or 5-pointer here at Yellowstone. This is actually the 7.3 earthquake in Japan this morning. Pretty nice signature. It's some S waves kicking in across the graph. It looks like a little localized earthquake activity here within the last hour or so. A little spike of movement, very localized and very small. But it's pretty awesome what a powerful earthquake can do across the globe when it comes to the readings here on the seismographs. It's just pretty awesome to look at. But no swarms, no major unrest or movement taking place here at Yellowstone National Park. But I kind of like to pull these graphs up here. Look at this. Do you see the 7.3 anywhere on this graph? Do you see anything? No. I mean, I don't know why this is so tuned high for the data. The sensitivity is just out of whack on a couple of these stations here. Look at this. Barely see it here on the borehole station. Just barely 7.3 from Japan. But it's just odd to keep some of these really tuned down, so to speak. What else do we have here? Let's back out of the west and check out Oklahoma, where not a whole lot of movement going on through Texas or Oklahoma. One earthquake out here in the Crescent area, 1.9. A little earthquake activity outside of Enid as well. Kingfisher movement. What do we got out here, folks? I got to tilt my head for this one. Sooner Trend oil fields. What do we have out here? Should we take a look on the satellite view? I keep doing this because it keeps happening, and it's only going to get worse and worse with these earthquakes. The damage is done. The earthquake activity could continue on for years and years and get big out here around the Oklahoma and Texas area as well. All these little beautiful farmhouses out here. No, those aren't farmhouses. Those are indeed oil and pumping operations out there, creating the movement we're seeing here on the map all throughout the land. I love Oklahoma, but man, if you've ever driven out there, there's thousands of them, and you can look on any map and see the amount of amount of oil and well operations out there. Eastern part of the country, zip, nada, pretty quiet. Puerto Rico Trench, a little bit of activity. One little earthquake up here on Puerto Rico Trench, and one earthquake here in the Dominican Republic, 4.1, 109 kilometers. Southeast flank, or the southwestern portion of Puerto Rico, still pretty active, but it's been that way for quite a while. Looks like diminished activity here in the Chile area. One earthquake earlier today at 4.4, but most of this activity from way late last night. Let's see, no subsequent movement here in the Fiji area or the Tonga Trench. Kermadec Trench looks pretty quiet as well. We'll go ahead and pull up the GeoNet server here real quick and check out the latest movement in the New Zealand area. Place to monitor activity there, at least for this area. Last one was 10 hours ago for the weak earthquakes. The all includes deleted. Yeah, it looks like 2.3, 18 minutes ago. A little earthquake activity, of course. These are very small microquakes, no major quakes to report, and no major swarmings that I can see there in New Zealand at the moment. Definitely looks like a typical day down there in the New Zealand area. Pretty quiet up through this region now, with that major adjustment here into the Japan region, and also the area to the west here with that very close 6.0, 5.8 earthquake there in southern Iran. Let's see what else we got. Canada, we'll zoom through them real quick. I don't think anything major is going on here. One earthquake at northern end of the Cascadia, looks like, Port Hardy area, BC, 3.8 at 10 kilometers. This is on the very northern end of the Cascadia, just actually to the west of the Cascadia along the Pacific Plate, and in this case the Explorer Plate up here. Well, I guess you could, a lot of people just call it the Juan de Fuca Plate, but literally there's three separate microplates here, kind of at the northern end of that region. And little aftershock sequences following this earthquake activity up here near the Fort St. John, BC area, where they seen that 4.3 a few days ago. One more earthquake up here around the Yukon region, a 2.5. The latest quake here, Purple Circle, showing a 2.0 in the Alaska region. Go ahead and check out the solar weather activity around the sun, and looks like things are green across the board for now. KP indexes look pretty minimal at the moment. No major solar flaring or any geomagnetic unrest forecasted here. Things look pretty green across the board. Only a 60% chance of C flare. Things have gone down in the M flare and the X flare department with the decaying and the dying of the sunspots that are now Earthside. But like I say, don't let your guard down. These things can definitely change in the blink of an eye. But looks kind of looks a little bleak, I guess, is the word right now when it comes to producing any significant solar weather on the Earth side. All right, folks, have a good day. Stay safe out there. We're going to back out of here. Have a good night. We will chat you guys a little bit later. Have a good one.